Hi Sarah, it's great to connect with you today. I'm really interested in this whole area of prompt engineering. It seems like it's becoming increasingly important as large language models, LLMs, advance. What's your take on it?
Absolutely. Prompt engineering is definitely a hot topic right now. In essence, it's all about figuring out how to communicate effectively with AI models to get the most accurate and relevant responses. Think of it as giving instructions, but with a deeper understanding of how the model interprets language based on the massive amounts of data it's been trained on.
It sounds more complex than just typing in a question.
It definitely can be. It's almost like a new form of programming language is evolving, where specific wording can dramatically impact the output. There are some key principles and techniques that can make a big difference. One of the most fundamental is to be as specific as possible in your prompts. Vague prompts tend to generate irrelevant information.
So, how do you go about crafting a really good prompt?
One common approach is the zero-shot technique, where you give a single, direct instruction. But I often find that few-shot prompting is more effective. This involves providing a couple of examples to guide the model's understanding of the task and desired output style.
I like that idea. It's like setting the scene and giving the model context, right?
Exactly. Think of it as having a conversation with a knowledgeable but non-expert assistant. You need to layer instructions to build understanding gradually.
That's a helpful analogy. Have you ever experimented with chain of thought prompting? I've heard it's useful for complex questions.
Oh, absolutely. Chain of thought prompting is fantastic for problems that require step-by-step reasoning. By asking the model to think through the process, you increase the likelihood of a coherent and logical answer. It's especially helpful in areas like math, reasoning, and even detailed planning.
I can see how that would prevent the model from just dumping a ton of information without any real structure.
Precisely. Another technique I find helpful is specifying the output format. Telling the model to answer in bullet points or provide a summary in 2 paragraphs can make a huge difference, particularly when you need structured data or specific output forms.
Those are great tips. It seems like striking a balance between guiding the model and giving it some creative freedom is crucial.
You're absolutely right. When dealing with open-ended tasks like idea generation, we do need to allow for creativity. However, even then, the prompt should direct the focus. Instead of asking for app ideas, you might say, suggest 5 creative app ideas for busy professionals to manage their schedules.
Makes sense. I've also heard about specifying the model's role within the prompt, like telling it to act as a marketing expert. Have you found that to be effective?
Yes, role-playing can definitely influence the model's persona and response style. It provides an implicit guide on how to approach the task. However, I've also found that too many instructions can make the model overly verbose.
So it's a balancing act, as with many things in prompt engineering. Do you typically start with a very structured prompt, or do you test and refine it iteratively?
Iteration is key. I usually begin with a high-level prompt and refine it by adding specific elements one at a time based on the model's response. It's similar to debugging code.
Speaking of debugging, what about error-driven prompt refinement? I find that addressing specific errors can really improve the output.
Absolutely. If the model consistently misinterprets data or goes off topic, adjusting the prompt to emphasize focus areas or clarify data inclusion can be very effective.
It all comes down to setting up good feedback loops, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. When you can evaluate the output against specific criteria, it becomes much easier to refine prompts systematically. This is especially important in production environments where consistency is paramount.
Which brings us to the challenge of evaluating prompt effectiveness. How do you approach that?
I try to measure performance based on the specific application's requirements. For instance, if the goal is idea generation, I might rate the ideas on novelty, feasibility, and relevance. For content summarization, completeness, accuracy, and conciseness might be key metrics.
A/B testing or prompt comparison can also be quite revealing, right? You can even do multivariate testing by tweaking small aspects of each prompt.
Exactly. The flexibility of these models allows for continuous fine-tuning. As for the future of prompt engineering, I believe we'll see both streamlining and increasing sophistication.
Interesting. What do you mean by that?
Well, as LLMs become better at understanding complex instructions, some aspects of prompt engineering might become more intuitive. However, with the development of more specialized applications, prompt engineering will likely evolve into a highly specialized skill.
So perhaps prompt engineering will become a new form of digital literacy, essential for effective collaboration with AI.
I think that's a very likely scenario. It's an exciting field with tremendous potential for shaping how we interact with and benefit from AI.